Hi everyone, my name is Mads, welcome back to my channel and welcome to the first video of 2024. So those of you that have been around for a while will know that over the last couple of years I've very much come and gone with YouTube. I come back for a few videos, I vanish for a few months, I come back for a bit, I vanish for a few months. So I just wanted to do a relatively quick video to give some life updates because there's been some pretty big changes over the last couple of years, and set some goals for reading and booktube for the next year, and just let you know that hopefully I'm coming back. So we're going to start with the life updates, but I will put a timestamp in the chapters below to kind of explain when I'm getting onto YouTube goals and reading goals for 2024, so if that's more up your alley, feel free to skip to that. But let's start with a quick overview of the many things that have been going on. The last year or so has been a pretty big one for me. There's been quite a lot of things going on in my life, and I feel like something that underlines all of it is my mental health, and that's been the biggest reason I've been coming and going. My mental health has not been in the best place for the last year and a half, 2 years, and it kind of all came to a head earlier this year, kind of summer, autumn time. Ended up having to have like time off work, etc, etc. It's actually when I came back for a bit was my attempt to make myself feel better by getting back online, which was fun and great, probably not the best timing for it. So that's kind of underpinned everything. I have been struggling with burnout in all aspects of my life for years at this point, and unsurprisingly that has made booktube come and go. And there's definitely a big aspect of when you're feeling a bit burnt out, when you're feeling a bit tired, etc, etc, you try and do more of the things you love to kind of pull yourself back up. But as much as I love making videos and reading, it can be quite stressful because there is an expectation of putting out content, and I don't mean an expectation from anyone else, but from myself. I want to make things I like and read a lot of books for them, and it can become a lot very quickly. So that's kind of the underpinning everything, is my mental health is now getting to a much better place, and there's some upcoming changes which are going to help that as well. So let's get into some specifics. Let's start with the obvious one. I have moved house. Anyone that's watched my videos before will know this is not where I lived before. I am still in London. I'm actually not too far from where I was before, but I have had housemates for the past year and a half, and they've all been wonderful people, and I've hated every second of it. I lived alone when I was in Birmingham, and I loved it. I lived alone my final year of uni, and I loved it. And then I moved to London, and the only way to do that affordably was to live with people, and no, it doesn't agree with me. It doesn't agree with me at all. I find it intensely stressful. I find myself feeling really uncomfortable a lot of the time. I like being in my own space and knowing that if I've left a mess, then that's my problem and it's not going to annoy someone else. And also if someone else has left a mess, then it kind of bugs me because I really struggle not being in control of my own space. And so having my own space, I moved over the last few weeks. I started filming a moving video. I'm not sure if you're going to see that because I kind of forgot to film most of it because I just wanted to get it done. But I'm now in my own place. I'm very excited about this. I will at least do a flat tour in a video if I don't end up posting the moving vlog. But that's update number one, ta-da. Number two, the other big kind of life change, I suppose, is I am leaving my job in the new year. So I've never been particularly open about what my job is, and I'm going to continue to not be massively open about it because I do lots of sensitive work and it's just not suitable. However, I've spoken a lot about the life that job has meant I had to live, with traveling a lot, very rarely being at home. It makes a lot of things really difficult and absolutely exhausting. And it was very much a high-powered corporate job that required very long hours, to put it mildly. And I cannot stress enough, I loved my work, I loved the people I worked with, and I'm sad to see all of that go, but it's not the right job for me. It's just not the right job long term. So we're taking the plunge, I'm leaving that job in the new year, and I don't know what I'm going to be doing next. That is going to be an adventure we're going to go on to work out where I'm going to go and work next. This was my first job out of university, so after 3 years, we're starting again. We're going to see what sort of stuff I want to go and do, and you might get some updates on that. I'm sure I'll let you know as and when I've got a new job. But one of the biggest things for me is I live in London. I live in a lovely flat in London. I'd really like to have some time to be in London, and that's the biggest motivator. Be in London, pursue my hobbies such as YouTube, and so fingers crossed the new job is going to allow me to do that, though we don't know what it is quite yet. Those are two pretty big things. We have two other pretty chunky things going on which are a bit more personal, and I'm just going to touch on both of them briefly because it feels, you know, want to share, and I feel like they'll be relevant to things I mentioned in passing in videos, so wanted to bring it up here. The first of which is I, a couple of months ago, got my ADHD diagnosis. I cannot remember whether I've mentioned on my channel before that I suspected I had ADHD / self-diagnosed, to be honest, but for the last good few years I've been relatively certain that I have ADHD, and it's had a massive bearing on my life and my job and YouTube and things like that, and it's made things really difficult, increasingly so over the past year with my mental health dipping. It's meant I've not been able to cope as well and mitigate things as well, and it's just made everything really, really difficult. So have finally got my diagnosis. I don't think that's going to be particularly relevant to any of you. I'm very unlikely to start making content around ADHD because I'm not educated enough other than my own experience and kind of fun internet stuff. But I just wanted to mention it because in videos, in vlogs, I may well make mention of like having a bad ADHD day or lol, I can't focus, and like taking the mick out of it. And I just wanted to be very clear that like I'm taking the mick out of myself and the silly little way my brain works. Like, I have ADHD, that's a thing. So if you hear me referencing it, that's why. It's this, not a new update, I've known about it for years, but now I feel more comfortable talking about it because self-diagnosis is entirely valid, but I never wanted to talk about ADHD like I do day to day, like basically taking the piss of myself because I'm useless, and that ever to come across in a way that was disparaging of people, because that's obviously not the intention. So yeah, that's that update. There's not much more to say on it. Hopefully diagnosis and treatment might help, but who knows? I may continue to be the chaotic gremlin that I am, and I'm not mad at that. I just need to figure out better ways of managing it, because yeah, my biggest problem I find, which is where YouTube really falls over, is my hyperfixations on my hobbies change really rapidly. So I'll do a couple months where all I want to do is make YouTube videos, and a couple months where all I want to do is watch TV. A couple months where all I want to do is read or journal or craft or this or that or play the piano or play the flute or go to see shows. Doesn't matter, but they cycle through. And so when YouTube drops off, we kind of run into troubles. But I'm hoping when we get into life goals in a minute, I have some ideas for how to make that better. But the one other life update is, in the past year or so, I have been very gradually coming out as non-binary. Again, this is not new information to me. This is not new information to my friends or people I work with, etc., etc. But it may be new information to some of you. Anyone that follows me on Instagram or has looked at my YouTube bio may have clocked the pronouns changing. You may have clocked at the beginning of this video I introduced myself as Mads versus Maddie. Like, it's been a gradual change. It's not that dramatic. Again, just wanted to let people know. So I tend to go by Mads versus Maddie nowadays, but it's in no way considered a dead name to me. It's just a lot of people in my life has called me Mads my whole life, and it feels very nice. So I'm sticking with it, basically. But Maddie's still fine. I'm not going to care if you slip up on that at all. I wouldn't even really consider it a slip up. But I do tend to use they, them pronouns now. And again, people will slip up. I slip up for myself. All my friends slip up, even though everyone's trying. It's created some very funny situations. Like, it's all very chill. It's a thing. I wanted to let you all know so people are in the loop, and just, you know, I don't know, it felt like a thing to update people on. In case it's not evident, I'm not good at coming out. I'm very much a drop it into conversation and move on kind of person, and always have been. So I don't like this, but we're doing it anyway. So yes, they, them pronouns tend to go by Mads. I would basically say if you see people in the comments using wrong pronouns, if you want to, you can politely correct them, but please no one pick any battles for me. Don't go to war for me. I will see the comments. If someone is being disrespectful or if someone is being intentionally difficult, I will respond to that or take any action on that I deem necessary. I'm a grown-up person. I'm more than capable of fending for myself. And I'm also relatively lax with these things. So don't please start any battles in the comments sections. I would really not appreciate that. That would in fact stress me out quite a lot. So yeah, I have ADHD. I'm non-binary. I've moved house and I'm moving job because we couldn't possibly make too many changes in the span of like 6 months. That's most of it. I'm, picking up some old hobbies, this and that, but that's basically the life update. And I guess the final one, which goes very nicely into the goals for the next year, is I'm coming back to YouTube. Hopefully. I'm gonna give it a good try. So, reading goals, YouTube goals. Let's talk about it. Very quickly gonna start with YouTube goals because there's only a couple of them. And basically, the only things I'm hoping to achieve this year for YouTube in the year of 2024 is number one, post slightly more consistently. I in the past have tried to post like tons, and what it results in is me doing loads for a few months and then nothing for a few months, which I'm not loving, and it stresses me out, and it's not good. I'm not, massive on trying to grow this channel into something huge, though. I want to make good content and do nice things that I enjoy. So I want to try and be a bit more consistent about it. And as such, my upper limit goal is 1 video a week. I'm not decided what I'm going to have as my posting day yet. I will pick a day and it might vary a bit, but yeah. But the overall goal, 1 video a week with a hopeful minimum of 2 videos a month. I'm really hoping I don't dip below that. Will that be true? I have no idea. There's every chance I'm gonna have another mental health dip in a couple months and I'll vanish off the face of the planet again. And if I do, I'm not gonna do a big intro video every time I come back. I've come and gone so many times in the last 2 years that I felt I needed to do a bit of a step back reset, tell you all what's going on. But I may well come and go a bit. I will try and keep people updated. I'm going to attempt to be on Instagram stories a little bit to keep people updated. We'll do the best we can, but hopefully I am back and I'm feeling ready to go and excited for it. Please let me know in the comments or elsewhere if there's any videos you would like to see me do. I tend to really enjoy themed vlogs. I'll be doing the typical wrap-ups and stats. There'll be a video coming actually very soon on my 2023 reading Wrapped, so what I read, how much I read, all the statistics, favourite books, all of that jazz. But going forward as 2024, I don't fully know what I'm going to be making. There will likely be some TBR/Dart Attack videos. It is not going to be a monthly occurrence because when we get into reading goals, that is just not suitable for how I'm planning to read in 2024. But that's YouTube. I'm back, I'm trying. Let me know what you want to see. We'll see how it goes. But then reading goals, I actually have a few. This is a bit more structured. So as I said, there's a video coming on my 2023 reading, but I'll mention a couple of reflections on that which are relevant to the goals I've kind of chosen for 2024. The first of which being, for 2023 and many other years alike, I unintentionally get really bothered by numbers. And when I say that, I don't necessarily mean I need to hit my Goodreads goal. I need to read a high quantity of books. I don't actually care that much about that. I mean, I set my Goodreads goal last year as 36 books. I set it really low. And the problem I found more than anything is when I'm reading, if I'm reading a book for more than 3 to 4 days, I get really antsy to finish it. I love the feeling of finishing a book, and I love finishing a book in 24 hours. If I get to 8 p.m. and I have less than 500 pages left, I will convince myself I can finish it that day. I don't need to, but I convince myself that I should. And that's the main thing I want to get away from in 2024. So I'm not setting a super low reading goal because I'm still very hopeful that I will read quite a lot in 2024. And a lot of the books I read, such as romance, I can read very quickly and read in a day or two. But I want to give myself space in 2024 to pick up some of the books I'm not necessarily more intimidated by, but the books I'm not picking up at the moment because I look at it and I go, that's going to take me a week and a half to read. Ridiculous, I'm aware, but that's the habit we're trying to break. I kind of broke it unintentionally in December, spoilers for my stats. I read basically nothing in December. I read one book that took me almost 4 weeks, and that was actually so useful for me because I enjoyed it. I had a good time, I was busy and okay, I read this book super slowly. Who cares? It doesn't matter, no one died. So overall reading goal, like the Goodreads goal, is going to be 48 books, excluding manga, which I'll get into in a minute, but 48 books, which works out as 4 books a month, I think, which is roughly 1 a week, which should allow for like a romance that takes me 24 hours to read, and then some books that take me a week or longer. It'll even out. It's definitely a bit of a stretch goal, given the kind of goal I'm setting myself, but also for context, I read like 100 books a year, so it should be a very nice step down, and we'll see how it goes from there. Did mention there excluding manga. So in 2023, I got very into reading manga, and that is fantastic. I love it. I'm going to continue to read manga. I'm in the middle of a load of series I love, and I really, really enjoy it. However, a volume of manga takes me 30 to 40 minutes to read. That's not very long in comparison to a book. And don't worry, I'm not saying manga is not a book. I'm counting them as things I've read, and they will go into my overall list of books I've read, and at the end of the year when I say I've read X number of books, it will include manga. Like last year I read 125. That includes 30 volumes of manga. But what I want to get away from is getting to a point where I'm reading a bit slowly and going, oh, you know what I could do? Pick up some manga, get that done quickly, get that buzz. And like, there's aspects of that which are great, but again, it is taking me away from luxuriating in slower, more intricate books for that dopamine kick of finishing something. So I'm still gonna read manga. I've set myself a target of at least 12 manga volumes, so 1 a month. I'll probably do about double that if I'm honest. But what I just wanna make sure I'm doing is prioritizing taking the time to read some tougher books and challenging myself in that way and trying to read 48 of those. So 48 books, 12 manga, we will see how we go. In terms of content of books I'm planning to read, I've got kind of 2 sub-goals. The first is I want to read 6 non-fiction books if I can. You can see it actually over here. I have this lovely shelf of non-fiction. I have more non-fiction elsewhere. This is my like queer non-fiction. And I really want to read all of them. And again, I don't pick them up because I will read them slowly over 2 weeks. And therefore I never read them at all. And again, that's bugging me. Like I'm missing out on good books because I want to finish more things quicker. And so I'm intentionally choosing books I can finish quickly. And it comes with that. Going for 6, 1 every 2 months feels about right for me because I may read them like in 10-page sections over the course of weeks and weeks. That's quite ambitious. I have read 2 non-fiction books in the last year. One is actually on that shelf, which is Gender Euphoria, which is a series of essays, and 1 memoir. So a lot of these are proper like information books versus experience books, and that's quite a scary thing for me, almost like academic texts. So we are going to give it a go. And then the only other thing is a big focus on series. Haven't said that one before, have I? So I, over the last couple of years, have read less fantasy, and that's fine. I'm coming back to fantasy in the last 6 months, and that's really exciting. But one of the things I found, which is, it's not a problem, it's fine, is when a series is coming out, I will read the first book, and if I like the first book, I will buy the continuation of that series, but often not read it as it comes out, because this noggin holds no memories. It's rubbish. It always has been. I have no memories past about 18 months ago of anything in my life, let alone the books I've read. And ADHD, memory is not good. But one of the problems this means is if I want to read a series as it comes out, I have to reread all the previous books every time a new one comes out. And you get to the point where you're reading the first or second book like multiple times. And that's just not something I want to invest my time in, and also is not good for me. I won't read a book that many times because I'll get bored of it. So I'll end up never finishing the series. So what I do is I buy and read the first one, and then if I like it, I buy the rest, wait for the series to be finished, and then read them all. Slight problem. I've done that for like 6 series, and now they are all completely out. And I've not touched them since the first book. So I'll do a video probably at some point of series I want to focus on, but I want to try and finish 3 series in 2024. But I just want to make sure I'm having a bit of a focus on, could I continue that series? Okay, let's start getting on with them now that I can, because otherwise the list is going to get immense, and it needs to stop getting more silly because it's already really silly. The only other book-related, reading-related goal I have for 2024 is, again, one that is completely novel and original and you've never heard it before. Haul less books. I haven't actually been too bad the last few months. I set myself a target about halfway through this year, for the rest of the year, trying to haul less books than I'm reading. And I think I did okay with that. I don't think I got quite to like net zero. I wasn't very good at tracking it. I do have a reading journal again coming up for 2024, so that should help me keep track of it all a bit. But I was doing better with it. I didn't realise until about July-ish how many books I was hauling, because I'd get like one from here, one from there, oh, 2 from the charity shop. And then you get to the end of the month and you've suddenly hauled like 15 books. And I don't read that much. And the thing I'm really finding is when I haul a book, I often read it straight away, which is great. That's very good. However, reading it straight away means I'm not reading anything on my backlist. And I read the new, exciting, shiny ones. And I don't read the many, many other books that I really want to read and was excited for at one time, and also I'm hauling more than I'm reading, so there will always be some that are new in that just get pushed out the way and I don't get to them. So the absolute goal is hauling less than I read next year, which is going to be hard, especially as I'm reading less, but I'm really going to try, and then ideally just haul really not very many. If a book comes out that I really want to read, I'm going to buy it. Like, especially continuations in series, obviously I'm going to buy, like, The Wayward Children next book comes out in January, we'll be buying it. New Casey McQuiston next year, we'll be buying it. I can't think of others now, but I know there are many that I'm looking forward to. Like, there will absolutely be books I buy that add to my TBR. I just want to, if I'm not gonna read it right then, and it's not like an edition that will go out of print, but buy it when you're gonna read it. Just calm down, dude. Like, just, you know, stop. So that's the goals. 48 books, 12 manga, 6 non-fiction, finish 3 series, haul less books, stop stressing and read slow books. That's it. That's all we're aiming for in 2024. I think that's it for this video. Hopefully this was interesting to anyone. I'm really excited to come back. I really want to do this for me. I've seen a lot of creators over the last few months that have done some really cool editing, and I'm not particularly adept at video editing and graphic design, but I want to challenge myself and have fun with it. I've always loved making videos. It's just, life's busy, you know? Like, there's a lot going on. But anyway, that's what we're going to do. More videos coming at you soon, including a 2023 wrap up. But that is the end of this video, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one.